It's declared its chief ministerial phase, and it has been posing a series of counter questions, asking the NDA who its chief ministerial phase is, how does it expect to deliver on its promises, does it in any way over-promise to the voter what it cannot deliver. And most importantly, viewers, the question that is repeatedly asked is whether the NDA will continue with Nitish even after the elections. These are the three specific questions that have been posed by Rahul Gandhi, Tejasvi Yadav, Prashant Kishore, other elements of the opposition, not just confined, by the way, to Bihar, but across the country, in order to, at some level or the other, create a wedge within the NDA. And for a while it appeared that the NDA had been caught out, at least on the chief ministerial phase question. But today, for the very first time in this interview, Amit Shah has come out and taken just about every conceivable question that could have been asked of him, including the one on whether the BJP is steadfast in continuing with Nitish even after the election results and in case they make it back to power. And he says, yes, of course, there is just no doubt about that. So he has very clearly enunciated that Nitish Kumar will be the next Chief Minister of Bihar if the NDA wins. He's also come out and said that in his mind there is no doubt that the NDA is going to not win Bihar. In fact, he said that they're going to get more than a two-third majority, wiping out the other side, the MGB. He says he doesn't fear the Prashant Kishore factor because he believes that while Prashant Kishore might get a vote share, he will not be able to puncture what Amit Shah believes is the resolute pro-incumbency mood amongst voters in Bihar. Most importantly, viewers, he has come out and like an onion peeled off the layers, as he calls it, of subterfuge which the MGB is using to mislead voters on the promises that they are making to them. And he says that these promises they are making with great confidence because they know that they're not coming to power, so they don't have to implement. But he went into the math and he exposed the MGB's math and said that they are making a big mistake because in Bihar, there are around 30% youth who are going to be voting this election and they cannot be taken for a ride. Amit Shah also made it very clear that Rahul Gandhi's reductionist, personalized attacks on Prime Minister Modi will backfire, and the reason he believes so is because he has jogged our memory back to the other campaigns, whether they were in Maharashtra or Haryana, even in Delhi or Gujarat or what have you, viewers, where Rahul Gandhi has been personal in his critique of Narendra Modi, where he has made offhand remarks, off-color remarks, and they have backfired. And he says that the people of Bihar do not tolerate what they believe is invective and hate. Listen to some of these excerpts, and we're going to open this up because there are major questions that I'm going to pose, viewers, to our panel.
दो तिहाई बहुमत 160 सीटों से ज्यादा, ये बहुत बड़ा नंबर है, बहुत बड़ा आंकड़ा है। अगर आप सरकार वापस बनाते हैं तो मुख्यमंत्री कौन बनेगा?
देखिए, आप कंफ्यूजन फैलाने का प्रयास न करो। ये पूरा मामला कहां से शुरू होता है, मैं कहता हूं, लालू जी की बहुत मन की इच्छा है कि इनके बेटे एक बार मुख्यमंत्री बन जाएं, और सोनिया जी की भी मन की इच्छा है कि उनका बेटा पीएम बन जाए। मैं आज दोनों को कहना चाहता हूं, बिहार में और दिल्ली में कहीं जगह खाली नहीं है। यहां नीतीश बाबू बैठे हैं, वहां मोदी जी बैठे हैं। आपके बेटों के लिए कहीं जगह खाली नहीं है। और हम नीतीश कुमार जी के नेतृत्व में ही चुनाव लड़ रहे हैं, कोई कंफ्यूजन एनडीए गठबंधन में नहीं।
तो इसका मतलब वही चुनाव के बाद वही मुख्यमंत्री बनेंगे?
मैंने बहुत स्पष्टता से कहा है कि हम उनके नेतृत्व में चुनाव लड़ रहे हैं।
डिप्टी सीएम्स कौन बनेंगे?
डिप्टी सीएम का जब चर्चा आएगा तब सबके साथ बैठकर नाम तय करेंगे। परिणाम एक बार आ जाए बैठेंगे। हमारे यहाँ इस तरह की झगड़े नहीं होते कि अंतिम दिन किसी को मनाने के लिए डिप्टी सीएम घोषणा करना पड़े और जिस दिन घोषणा करे इस दिन बहुत बड़ा वोट बैंक नाराज हो जाए। और बहुत कहावतें भी इसके लिए चलने लगी है, परंतु भारतीय जनता पार्टी जो टीम एनडीए जो टीम तय करेगी वो टीम बिहार के विकास को समर्पित होगी, मजबूरी से नहीं तय करेगी।
तेजस्वी जी कह रहे हैं कि अगर उनकी सरकार बनी तो हर बिहार के घर में एक सरकारी नौकरी देंगे। क्या ये संभव है? क्या ये हो सकता है?
आप मानते हो क्या?
नहीं, मैं तो आंकड़ों पर जाना चाह रहा था कि अभी सिर्फ 25-26 लाख नौकरियां हैं और करीब कम से कम 3 करोड़ परिवारों को नौकरी है।
सारे व्हाट्सएप घूम गए
जी
कि 2 करोड़ 80 लाख परिवार 20 लाख नौकरी दे चुके हैं। 2 करोड़ 60 लाख नौकरी गुना 40,000 12 लाख करोड़ रुपया चाहिए। बिहार के बजट से 3 गुना पैसा चाहिए
जी।
अब वो तो मानते हैं कि वो जो बोलते हैं सब लोग मान लेते हैं, मगर बिहार के युवा को वो अंडर एस्टिमेट कर रहे हैं। मेरे पास तो बिहार से ही व्हाट्सएप आए कि कहां से दोगे इतना पैसा। मगर एक सूत्र है, वचन से क्यों, वचन देने में क्यों दारिद्र रखना चाहिए? देना चाहिए। ये लोग दे रहे हैं। इनको मालूम है कि उनको सत्ता में नहीं आना है, वचन पूरा करने की उनकी नौबत ही नहीं आनी है, इसलिए अनाप शनाप घोषणा पत्र बना दी।
Viewers, let's open this up. The debate has been set up by Amit Shah, and his words are going to set the tone now the next few days, till, of course, the NDA announces its own manifesto. And I want to first begin with the Congress representative, Nikhil Jain, on the show. Nikhil, the fundamental unstated question, according to the MGB, was that Nitish is being used, that the BJP is not committed, that he's going to be jettisoned. Now, whether it is Amit Shah who has spoken on this on our channel exclusively for the first time, no other channel has got his interview, he's made it absolutely clear. He's made it absolutely clear that Nitish is their man as Chief Minister, come what may. In fact, he says that Lalu and Sonia want their sons to be CM and PM respectively. All those positions are occupied. He has responded on that. And number two, most importantly, he's exposed your math. He's exposed the MGB's math totally. And I have to ask you, just look at the math. Look at this, viewers. The cost of promises is going to be 58,000 crores. And what is Bihar's total capital outlay? 40,000 crores. The projected fiscal deficit will be 32,000 crores. The GST collection is only 34,000 crores. Who are you kidding? And I can take these numbers forward. I can take these numbers forward. He's called out your bluff. And let me tell you, I have been seeing interview after interview, even an interview conducted by somebody from your own ecosystem, a journalist who is put on the mat, one of your top allies, and the ally has no response. He said, no, we'll see how we'll do it. Don't worry. When we come to power, there will be a way. I mean, the maths is not adding up. Look at the cost of the new jobs that you want to give. That's the size of the Indian defense budget, my dear man. Who are you kidding?
Rahul, can I now please respond?
No, please, but answer these math questions, please.
Of course, I'll answer the math questions, history questions, and geography questions very well. First of all, let me make it clear to your viewers, I'm not a representative of the Congress. I merely support the Congress party as an independent voice. Secondly, Amit Shah actually made it very, very clear what the Mahagathbandhan and what the India Alliance has been saying. Even after repeated questions from your anchor, when he asked, "Kya Nitish Kumar Mukhyamantri banenge?" What did Amit Shah say? नीतीश बाबू के नेतृत्व में चुनाव लड़ा जाएगा. The election would be fought under the leadership of Nitish Kumar. The same way the election in Madhya Pradesh was fought under the leadership of Shivraj Singh Chauhan, only for him to be then removed and then for Shivraj Singh Chauhan to come and say, party से कुछ मांगने की जगह तो मैं मरना पसंद करूंगा. The election was also run on the face of Vasundhara Raje Scindia, who was then again removed. The election was also contested in the leadership of Eknath Shinde, who was again removed from the post of the chief minister. Amit Shah has made it very, very clear that Nitish Kumar will not be the chief minister if the NDA alliance wins. But first of all, that's a very big if. Are they going to win? Because the people of Bihar, the youth of Bihar, do place their faith and trust in Rahul Gandhi and in Tejasvi Yadav. So far as your math question is concerned, I just hope that you had a similar math question when Narendra Modi was going around in 2014 and telling everybody, सबके अकाउंट में 15 लाख रुपया आएगा, हर घर में 15 लाख रुपया आएगा. तो 15 लाख करोड़ कहां से आ रहा था पता नहीं. So far as this math is concerned, Tejasvi is very clearly saying that government will make provision for jobs for each household, and that is the very job.
Can I ask you, Nikhil Jain? Can I ask you something? Can I just ask you something? How many total jobs does the Uttar Pradesh government give out as far as the government is concerned? Can you tell me?
Rahul, if you are to take into account...
I'm asking you this question. Can you tell me how many jobs the Uttar Pradesh government puts out in a year?
Rahul, I am contextualizing.
I'm asking you this question. Do you have the answer? Don't waste my time. If you don't have the answer, I can move on. This is not a kaun banega crorepati question. Tell me.
No, that is what you're trying to do.
No, I'm asking you. Do you have the answer? Yes or no? Let me tell you, viewers. Let me tell you, viewers. No, one second. Let's have this conversation because, viewers, let me tell you. Bihar, for instance, viewers, and let's keep those numbers on. Let's keep those numbers on, squeeze the screen, let's split it. You can keep the visuals on one side and the numbers on the other. These numbers are important, viewers. You see, viewers, Bihar itself, government jobs are around 10 lakhs. 10 lakhs total. That's the employment. The government, viewers, over the next 1 year is going to grow, do the math, from 10 lakhs to 2.5 crores. They're going to sprout jobs.
They said 20 days.
One second. Within 20 days. Exactly. Within 20 days. Now, Mr. Gupta, can you teach this gentleman some math? And I will also ask the senior journalist in the middle.
The government making provisions
for jobs one second. Sir, please don't fool everybody. The total number of jobs that you want to create are the total number of government jobs offered by 10 governments. 10 state governments offer those kind of jobs.
Will you condemn Narendra Modi for saying that every household will get 15 lakhs? Will you condemn
I'll tell you. First of all, sir, you're lying. You're lying because Narendra Modi said that if I were to bring back every penny of misappropriated money, black money, then it would amount to so much that I would be able to give an X amount to every person.
What was the
He didn't say that I'm bringing it back and giving it to. He said if I please, be educated, Mr. Nikhil Jain. Please be educated. Go back to the. Just read that statement to me. No, hang on. Pull out the statement. Don't yell at me. Just pull out the statement and tell me what it says, and I'll pull it out myself and I will read it to you, and you will look very foolish on air. Yes, Mr. Gupta.
Let's begin with the fact check, Rahul. The RJD manifesto, page number 3, point number 1, under critical points. इंडिया गठबंधन की सरकार बनते ही 20 दिनों के अंदर प्रदेश के हर परिवार के एक सदस्य को सरकारी नौकरी देने का अधिनियम लाया जाएगा. सरकारी नौकरी. And this is being claimed as the Indeed Alliance promise. It's not being claimed as an RJD promise. So one has to assume that the Congress is on board. And as you rightly pointed out, the math doesn't add up. And to defend the impossibility of that math, they're saying, oh no, we are going to make provisions for job. No, sir. Your manifesto, Nikhil, clearly says it's going to be a government job, not a private sector job. So unless you plan to, sort of bring every single MSME in Bihar under the control of the state government and make state government a stakeholder in those MSMEs, there is no way you can do it. Even if I assume, Nikhil, that you will give 30,000 rupees as a monthly salary to the 2.5 crore people you're promising jobs, to the households you're promising jobs, that's going to be more money than the capex of our entire center. That's going to be more money than we spend on building roads, rails, bridges, airports, and whatnot. So the math doesn't add up. I do not understand why these meaningless promises are being made. But Rahul, I'll tell you why they're being made. Just like another promise in the manifesto which says we'll overturn the Waqf law. Tell me, Rahul, even a class 6 student can tell you that the state government cannot overturn a law made by the parliament. So why is Tejashwi Yadav promising that? Only because he wants to misguide his minority voter base, which he's heavily reliant upon. The Congress wants to play along. The Congress thinks that like they fulfilled all the promises in Karnataka, pun intended, they'll fulfill all the promises in Bihar. But again, unless you start printing money or unless the money starts growing from the trees, this cannot happen.
This cannot happen. Viewers, this cannot happen, Mr. Kidwai. This cannot happen. In interview after interview, these leaders, from Tejaswi to others, have been asked this question and they've said, no, we will make it happen. They don't go into the math. I'm asking you, sir, you're an independent journalist. You're a man of great experience and integrity. You're known for that. Aren't these, and on both sides, let me tell you, viewers, even the NDA, some of the promises that it has made, the math is not adding up. Today, Amit Shah clarified and said that, look, we are going to factor in GST revenues, and therefore those GST revenues, those earnings, will ensure that the fiscal deficit doesn't bloat. So at least he's trying to give some sort of a response. But Mr. Kidwai, I have to specifically ask you, because this has been the central point in this particular interview. You see the math, you will have to accumulate the equivalent of India's defense budget and spend that to finance these jobs. Mr. Kidwai, you know the numbers. I don't have to...
Yeah. So Rahul, political parties in India are known to make reckless statements. In fact, there is no check. And I personally feel that Election Commission should take a note of it, the kind of bold promises that are made by political parties, whether they are doable or not, whether they have some kind of fiscal discipline or not. But there is no consensus among political parties. So this is something, somebody is doing 10% of this kind of kite flying, somebody is doing much more. And practically, Rahul, from my experience on the ground, it makes little or no difference. Bold promises are very potent, as we have seen in case of Ladli Bahina Yojana and several others in Madhya Pradesh and in Maharashtra. They did make an impact. Whether you talk about how feasible they were, political parties again, Rahul, wear two sets of hats when they are in opposition and when they are in government. When they come in government, then they try to dilute it and they find some via media and they make some kind of tokenism, as we have seen in case of Karnataka government of Congress party or Himachal Pradesh government. They made a lot of promises. Some of them were fulfilled, some were not. It's a case of glass being half empty or half full. I am quite alarmed and surprised the kind of outrage that it is causing in the studio. See, either we take a position that political parties should not be making irresponsible, reckless promises.
No, I take that position. I take that position.
No, we cannot.
I mean, even no, 1 second, Mr. Kidwai, very importantly, in this particular election, even the NDA has fallen into the trap of confusing what it called reveries with welfare. Even it has. So let's be honest, except that at least there is an attempt here to try and rationalize it with numbers. So whether the math works out or not, we'll have to see. But in this particular case, even the number that has been promised by the MGB is so outlandish that it is, as you say, bordering on the reckless. See, that is the problem, because we are taking the voter for granted, and that is a disturbing trend. But let me just 1 second bring in Mr. Bariyar. Mr. Bariyar, you're the spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party. We've done the maths. We're not very enamored by the fact that even the Bharatiya Janata Party has made promises. And I know that your manifesto is awaited and Amit Shah says, no, what we have spoken about, we've already delivered. What we are going to promise, we haven't even told you. On the 30th, we'll tell you. Wait for that. But fundamentally, do you believe that you're also veering and falling into this trap? And how do you respond to Nikhil Jain, who says, oh, you know, people promise, jumlas is very common, people promise everything. What about Modi and the 15 lakhs?
Good evening to you and to my co-panelists and all the viewers. Let me give you some facts. I think that would give a clearer picture of Bihar's economic situation right now. So 25-26, the fiscal deficit of GSDP is proposed to be 3%, and which is on track as of now. Last year it was around 7% fiscal deficit, which went high. Before that, if you look at, fiscal deficit has been 2.98%, before that 5.97%, and debt to GSDP is somewhere around 39.4%, which is well within the permissible limits. Bihar, and especially Nitish ji under NDA government, has been very, very, careful about not putting Bihar in debt trap, and that is why all these things. And I take a
no, but there is no. Hang on, sir. 1 second. I take offense there because there is debt. There is a problem of debt. You know this, and in fact, the amount that is used to service that debt is also outlandishly large. So there has been debt, but that doesn't excuse.
Rahulji, I would like you to clarify further.
Okay.
Why do you use this word outlandishly? Right. So you have states who are at 46%, 48. Punjab, you look at 48%, 46%.
Yeah, you might be slightly
Bihar
better off than the real broke ones.
Policy framework. It is well within the policy framework. Now,
that's debatable.
You can question the fact that why are you giving electricity 125 units free? But then Bihar is surplus in electricity. So gone are those days when during RJD and Congress rule, there was no electricity in Bihar. The coverage was only 20%. From 20%, now it is 100%.
I agree with you on that. That is a fact, yes.
So therefore, if the government has done well in last 5 years, even this year, if you see the GSDP growth rate,
look, I don't want. I've produced a whole bunch of statistics which I have shown a few days ago on how Bihar has also had economic problems. It is not in that spring, so to speak, where you could be profligate. And that's what I'm objecting. But, I just want to make it very clear, viewers, that as you heard the BJP and you heard Amit Shah and you heard others, there is at least an attempt to rationalize. You can quibble, you can hair split, but you can't mislead to the amount that the MGB is doing, thinking that the people are going to fall for it. And that's my great worry. But I want to bring in Dr. Ranganathan in on this. He's actually speaking to us from Helsinki today. Thank you very much, Doctor, for making this time for us. I just want to ask you, you've heard the interview. How do you place the response? And the Chanakya of NDA says that the real problem for the MGB is that it has a credibility crisis. And he has offered this fact check. What do you make of this? What do you make of the promises that are being made by the NDA and by the MGB? Contextualize for our viewers.
Hi, good evening, Rahul, and good evening to my fellow panelists. Look, the fact is that every party tries to promise the moon, and most end up delivering not the moon, but the craters it has. That said, some deliver small craters, while others deliver massive ones. That's the choice for the Indian voter, and in particular the Bihari voter, I'm afraid. Let's be honest out here. The issues highlighted by the BJP and the Mahagathbandhan hide the data they are basing those issues on. Take unemployment for a start. Bihar has an unemployment rate of 3.6% according to the latest official data from the Periodic Labour Force Survey, PLFS. That places Bihar at 20th among India's 36 states and union territories. No opposition leader will tell you that. No opposition leader will also tell you that according to the UPA instated Clem's report, India generated 26 million jobs last year, 46 million. And what has Tejasvi promised? One government job for every Bihar family. That comes to 30 million government jobs. How many government jobs are there in the entire state of Bihar right now? 0.5 million. And what's being offered? 30 million. Even a high school pass would have got this crazy mismatch. No wonder the RJD chief didn't get it. Take the other promises. MSP on every agricultural produce, health insurance of 25 lakhs, free electricity, free this, free that. This is freebie gone berserk. Yes, absolutely. Every party is indulging in it. But Tejasvi is on another level altogether. And Rahul is helping him in this. Let's now come to the law and order issue. Bihar's ranking in overall crime rate, 277.5 per lakh population, according to the latest NCRB, is 15th amongst all states and union territories. According to the latest NCRB report, a total of 57,789 cases of crimes against scheduled castes, Dalits, were registered across India, 28.7 per lakh SC population. Bihar's is 42.6. But then Kerala also had a crime rate of approximately 34.5 cases per lakh SC population, which is higher than the national rate. Look, things have improved in the last 4 years. But the Jungle Raaj debate, let me give you 4 very brief points. Number 1, don't we remember during Lalu Prasad Yadav's RJD rule, Bihar became synonymous with Jungle Raaj. Kidnapping surged over 1,000 annually. Murders were daily occurrences. Extortion was rampant, and even IAS officers' families were targeted. Bihar's per capita crime rate was India's highest, and RJD return could revive this. Number 2, RJD's 2025 candidate list is dominated by criminals. 53 of 83 sitting RJD MLAs face charges, including 33 murders, 42 crime against women. Most of RJD's 143 candidates have criminal histories. Tejasvi Yadav himself faces 27 cases. Number 3, reviving mafia legacies like Shahabuddin, RJD gave a ticket to Osama Shahabuddin, son of Muhammad Shahabuddin, a convicted RJD MP symbolizing Jungle Raaj brutality. Number 4, glorification of lawlessness by supporters of RJD. The campaigns are featuring songs praising Jungle Raaj. Lalu ji ka gunda Raj sabko darata tha. No condemnation from Tejasvi or Lalu. And finally, family dynasty with no accountability. Lalu is convicted in fodder scam, facing land for job scams, handed power to son Tejasvi. Where is the outrage? And finally, Rahul, you are absolutely right. Bihar, yes, still lags in most health and economic indices, but progress is being made in vaccination, in IMR, in schooling and other factors. And the best composite metric of progress, Bihar's nominal GDP at current prices has increased from 5.7 lakh crores in 2021 to almost 9.2 lakh crores today. Bihar's GDP per capita has also surged from 39,000 to 60,180 in the last 4 years. Ultimately, though, unfortunately, it might come down to the caste equations rather than mathematical ones. But then, as I say, the sad truth, Rahul, is that democracy, more often than we'd like to admit, is not so much the defeat of the elected as it is of the electorate.
Absolutely. I think you fundamentally summed it up, because, viewers, there was a phrase that has been used by the Prime Minister, and he calls it the Latbandhan, which is obviously a harking back to the Jungle Raj scenario. But I don't think it's the Jungle Raj, Tushar Gupta, that's going to cost in the end analysis. I have a feeling, the MGB. I think what they're going to be held against is the promise, or the vacuity of the promise, viewers. And it will be the Thagbandhan that Amit Shah has invoked, which might actually be on the ticket at the end of the day. We'll have to see, because the viewer will and the voter will think this through, and they will say, okay,
Yes.
you believe that we are fools. You believe that you're going to be able to create from 0.5 million jobs right now in 20 days, and you're going to take this number to 30 million. I mean, viewers, the opposition has been attacking the Prime Minister for not being able to create the 2 crore jobs a year, promise that he made in 2014, at a national level. And these people want to outdo him at the state level, viewers. I mean, it is bizarre. It is bizarre. I don't know, viewers, but this is going to be an interesting election, and I won't be surprised. Whoever wins will either win with a huge majority, and whoever loses is going to be completely out of the equation. I leave it at this, because we need to move on. A lot has been said, and I don't want to be trapped in this sort of counter back and forth. I think everyone we've heard, and everyone's had a point of view. I just want to move on, viewers, because there is a very important story that I want to focus on. And it's a story that has come up from literally nowhere. And one hopes that what has triggered this story is just an innocent faux pas, but I don't think so. In Assam, at a top-level meeting of the Congress Party state unit, a senior leader stood up and sang the Bangladesh national anthem. You can see him in the middle of your screens, Vidubhushan Das, and he's a senior Congress leader in the state, viewers. He's an experienced politician. He knows the difference between the Indian national anthem and the Bangladesh national anthem. Yes, viewers, the anthem of the country that is plotting with Pakistan to outflank India and where Islamist extremism is rearing its messianic head to wage Ghazwa-e-Hind to ensure the downfall of secular Bharat. Viewers, it is to that country that the Congress sang a paean. Listen to this Congress leader serenading Dhaka. Just listen. So viewers, this is the executive committee meeting of the Seva Dal in a particular pocket of Assam. Senior leaders are there. No one is even getting up and saying, could you pipe down, my dear friend? And when the Congress was confronted with this fact, it turned around and pointed out that the song was composed by Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore and was therefore an iconic ode to Bengali culture. The Congress also patronizingly pointed out that the Bengali culture is shared between the two nations. Of course, viewers, we all know this is a fact. But Rabindranath Tagore, and I have produced the facts and put them out there, we just put it out on the screen. But Rabindranath Tagore ji also composed the Indian national anthem. Here are the facts. Amar Shonar Bangla, written in 1905 during the Swadeshi movement, it became the national anthem of Bangladesh after its independence in 1971. Jana Gana Mana, our national anthem. This was originally part of the longer song called Bharato Bhagya Vidhata, one of the refrains. It was adopted as the national anthem of India on January 24, 1950. If the Congress truly wanted to exalt Bengali culture and specifically Tagore's contribution to it, it could have just as easily sung India's national anthem. Or it could have saved itself the blushes entirely and could have sung Bankim Chandra Chatterjee's Vande Mataram, the iconic nationalist poet of the Bengali Renaissance. The question, of course, is this: was the Congress playing to a political gallery where it made sense to tune out India first? Viewers, these are the fundamental questions that I'm going to pose today. Let me begin with Tushar Gupta and Nikhil Jain. We also have Tuhin Sinha here with us. He's an author. Tuhin Sinha, I just want you to first put it in perspective for our viewers. Look, the Congress says we were singing to celebrate Tagore's contribution. And this is a shared legacy. We shouldn't run away from this fact. Urdu is also a shared legacy between India and Pakistan. Why are we trying to sort of rewrite the script of history? How would you respond to them?
Well, good evening, Rahul. Good evening, everybody. You know, the sinister motives of Rahul Gandhi's Congress is out in the open, and it can't be, just brushed aside. Please note that this incident where the Bangladesh national anthem is being sung by a Congress leader in front of a Congress gathering happens around a time when the present Bangladesh establishment has been mischievously floating a flawed map of India which shows portions of Northeast as belonging to Bangladesh. My simple, straightforward question to Congress party today is it complicit? Is it directly working towards the sinister greater Bangladesh agenda? And this is not the first time. This is not the first time the Congress has taken an anti-India line. In fact, the way they have been, trying to give validity to the Hamas, either through their leader Imran Masood or through, allowing and not condemning a Khalid Mashal rally in Kerala. or the way they tried to convert an Operation Sindoor victory into surrender barely 10 days. I think this Congress party's anti-India behavior is out in the open. But yes, the significance of this president singing of Bangladesh anthem is even more worrisome because, like I said, this present Bangladesh establishment is fantasizing about parts of Northeast or perhaps the entire Northeast belonging to Bangladesh, and Congress seems to be complicit in that agenda.
Okay. Nikhil Jain, how do you respond?
Yeah, I think Toheen really has a problem of seeing everything with a communal lens. I really don't understand how is the topic of Palestine relevant or Hamas relevant in all of the discussion that we're having. Secondly, this song was sung by a Congress worker at a district level meeting of the Congress Seva Dal, and it is a song, as you clearly pointed out, which was written about the heritage and culture of Bengal, the larger region of Bengal, in 1905 by Rabindranath Tagore. In 1971, Bangladesh adopted it as their national anthem. Now, just because Bangladesh adopted it as their national anthem doesn't mean that Rabindranath Tagore's song about the cultural heritage of Bihar, of Bengal, cannot be sung by people in India. And that's a foolish logic for the BJP to go by. These are the same people who have a problem with Urdu. Why? Just because Pakistan made the language their national language and official language, and that's not how you look at your own heritage. Just because Bangladesh adopts a part of the shared heritage of the subcontinent, or Pakistan does it, I am not going to divorce myself from my heritage. I'm going to sing all the songs that Rabindranath Tagore wrote. I'm going to read all the ghazals and shairs in Urdu, and that's perfectly fine. That's part of my heritage.
Can I just ask you the devil advocate question, so to speak? Yes, you could sing paeans to Bengali culture, Rabindra Sangeet. You could pick many other songs and poems that Rabindranath Tagore ji has written. Also, you could have, of course, sung the national anthem.
So it's very often that you have Congress events where the national anthem is sung,
but
where
I
the
didn't
Indian
hear it
national
here.
flag is hoisted.
I didn't hear it here. We were told that it wasn't sung, but the Bangladeshi national anthem was sung.
Do you play it? No, it is a song written by Rabindranath Tagore, so far as I am concerned.
But I'm saying that you can choose. You can choose. Okay, one second. Let me bring in Mr. Gupta.
Congress party does unfurl the national
You
flag.
have chosen to go with.
Unlike the RSS.
I understand.
Unlike the RSS, which were not ready to accept the Indian national flag for 52 years. I'm sorry. 55
I think again,
years
Mr.
after
Jain.
Indian
Again,
independence.
Mr. Jain. There, you are once again mixing up fact with fiction. I'm not sitting here and getting into the flag debate. We weren't allowed, private institutions were not allowed to fly the flag.
Nope.
Just calm down. And Mr. Bhagwat is on record. He answered this question when he said that on every major national public holiday, the Independence Day and Republic Day, we are all allowed to do so. We did so. And once the ban on private groups, people at their homes was lifted, to fly and unfurl the tricolour, we did so. Anyhow, I don't want to go down that because that's not part of this particular debate. Viewers, the fact of the matter is that they have chosen to celebrate Tagore in a particular way and through a particular idiom. Mr. Gupta, what's wrong, says Nikhil Jain? So big deal.
I would have bought... I would have bought Nikhil Jain and the Congress's innocence, but I also remember the same Congress during Jharkhand elections had a district leader saying, "Unke log aayenge to hum unko cylinder denge."
I don't think it was a very senior leader. I think it was the state unit chief or something. It wasn't just some abstract personality.
Yeah, pardon me. Exactly. But it was a significant Congress personality who said that the infiltrators would also be given cylinders under whatever Yojana runs in the state. The same Congress stands against NRC. The same Congress has an issue with deportation and the prospect of it. The same Congress has a problem with CAA. The same Congress raises concerns against our national security interests in the Bay of Bengal. So how do you expect me to believe that this is just an innocent celebration where Tagore is being celebrated? And let's assume it is. Let's give Nikhil Jain, our dear friend, the benefit of doubt. Where was this concern and love for Tagore when the same Bangladesh was dismantling his legacy during the recent revolt, the violence over there, the arsoning over there? Nothing from the Congress. You heard absolutely nothing from the Congress. Today they want to reclaim Tagore. That day when his house was burned down by the arsonists in Bangladesh, not a word from the Congress. What kind of selective convenience hypocrisy is this? This is no innocent mistake, Rahul. This is an agenda. Today they are saying, let's sing their national anthem. Yesterday they were saying, give them cylinders. Tomorrow they'll say, give them homes. Who's going to stop them? Tomorrow they'll say give them homes. Shared legacy, shared heritage, shared history, shared culture. Where does this sharing stop?
That's a moot point.
Now he's lying. Can I please fact check his lie?
Yeah, of course.
Mallikarjun Kharge, the leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha and the president of the Congress party, wrote to the Prime Minister in a publicly published letter. There are two incidents on the international stage which are extremely worrying for us, and vandalism of the ancestral house of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, the author of Amar Sona Bangla, the national anthem of Bangladesh, is problematic. He has written.
I'll tell you when that happened, Nikhil Jain, since you want to be really punctilious. That happened after the Congress was called out for its science. Similarly, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra also, when she was completely... Wait, excuse me, let me finish now. Okay, you don't want to listen. What can I do, sir? Can't have a conversation with you. Look,
your viewers are seeing.
I'm only telling you, sir. I'm only telling you that there was a significant. Okay, one second, Mr. Jain. Let's not get into a slanging match every night. I'm not interested in banding words with you, sir. I'm only banding facts. Let's go fact to fact. The criticism came fast onto the Congress party. The Congress, after a few days, responds. This is exactly the same pattern when Hindus were killed and attacked in Bangladesh right after those horrible turn of events there, viewers. Complete silence from the great All Eyes on Rafah Brigade, let me tell you. All Eyes on Gaza Brigade. Complete silence, dead. Only once the media made it a big issue did some hurried flurry of ex-post emerge. Let me bring in Dr. Ranganathan. What do you make of this, Dr. Ranganathan? Are we overblowing this?
I don't know what to say, Rahul. Let's be just thankful that he didn't sing Pakistani national anthem. But the fact of the matter is not about anthems. It's not about what you remember. It's about what you do, your deeds. And you look at the way Congress and its leaders are behaving as far as India's security is concerned. You look at the appeasement that has gone absolutely haywire in the last 10 years, especially in the Congress-ruled states. You look at what's happening in Jharkhand, where not just Hindus are protesting against the illegal immigration, but Christians. And you look at the instances of love jihad, where Christians are protesting in Kerala. So while Hindus were protesting all these issues, nobody batted an eyelid. But when other minorities have started this, then the alarm bells are ringing. But I'm afraid in many situations, it's a bit too late. I'll tell you why. Because the fact of the matter is, if you look at particularly Assam and Bengal, there are now 9 districts that border Bangladesh that are Muslim majority. And I'm talking of the census records that are 14 years old. We should have had a census by now. It would be alarming, the data that would come out of it. And you know what is even more alarming than that? That the border cumulative kilometers long that is shared by these districts with Bangladesh is almost 500 kilometers. Do I need to spell it out? What doom awaits us all?
So let me just bring in Mr. Gupta one final time before I move out of this and sum up another very important and sizable development. Mr. Gupta, there's one other thing that I want to talk a little bit about. You see, anyone who knows the politics and the polity of Assam realizes how sensitive an issue it is about infiltration, and specifically infiltration from Bangladesh of Bengali-speaking people, whether they're Hindus or Muslims. There's a problem there, as you know. The Congress sort of playing into that, I would feel, being a little insensitive also to Ahomi sentiments. Am I right, or am I completely off the charts here?
You're absolutely correct, Rahul, but then they do not care for those sentiments, because for them, the minority vote bank is the priority. If they really cared for the sentiments, they wouldn't have cared for the sentiments just in Assam. They would have cared for it country over. Just today, Rahul Gandhi, in his speech in Bihar, how he was talking about the Yamuna, how he was talking about the Chhat Puja, that tells you how the Congress feels overall about several Hindu communities, not just in Assam, across India. And it stems from their insecurity to secure the minority vote bank at any cost, and that's what's going on in Assam.
Well,
so you're spot on.
I just hope that it's not as cynical as that. I just hope it isn't, viewers. But if it is, then unfortunately, we are on a slippery slope, let me tell you. And the Assam election will be one that we'll have to really closely watch out for. I remember the last time, against the late Mr. Gogoi's wishes, the former chief minister's wishes, they tied up with the AUDF In fact, even Kapil Sibal and others criticized the Congress for doing so. And I'm talking about a sectarian party, the AUDF. Anyhow, let's move on. This is very important. Pakistan's propaganda just hit an air pocket as President Draupadi Murmu took to the skies in a Rafale fighter jet alongside squadron leader Shivangi Singh. The same officer Pakistan's disinformation ecosystem had falsely claimed was, quote, captured, unquote, during Operation Sindoor. So viewers, for about 40 minutes, truth soared about the lies. The president's sortie is more than ceremonial. It's a fact check. It is, in fact, viewers, living proof, a rebuttal in motion to every malicious whisper from across the border. And Draupadi Murmu came out and said this first flight on potent Rafale aircraft has instilled in me a renewed sense of pride in the nation's defense capabilities. I congratulate the Indian Air Force and the entire team of Air Force Station Ambala for organizing this sortie successfully, unquote. When the Commander-in-Chief herself puts faith in India's air warriors and hardware, what does it say about the credibility of Pakistan's spin machine? Can fake news defeat real courage? Or has India's flying squad, as I have branded them, just grounded Islamabad's propaganda once and for all? Because several pro-Pak handles had claimed that Pak military sources had confirmed to them that Air Officer Squadron leader Shivani Singh had been captured alive during Operation Sindoor, and there she is, right next to President Murmu. Everything that Pakistan says, which is amplified, of course, by you-know-whom, or trumpeted, let me just say, by you-know-whom, is a fake news. It's a lie. I'm coming right back after this short break. Viewers, don't go away.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Much for staying with us here on Nation at 5. Israeli airstrikes have hit Gaza after Benjamin Netanyahu and his government accused Hamas of violating the US brokered ceasefire, marking the latest test of this fragile truce. Over 30 people have been killed, according to Gaza health officials. That number is likely to increase. These strikes follow Prime Minister Netanyahu's orders for powerful attacks after Israel claimed that Hamas returned remains that didn't belong to the missing hostages. Vladimir Putin has also announced successful tests of the Poseidon nuclear-powered underwater drone. We're given to understand that this has only now escalated matters, with the world being on edge of what comes next in this war in West Asia.
Palestinian Red Crescent workers were seen trying to rescue people trapped under rubble after an Israeli strike in Gaza City, in video obtained by Reuters on Tuesday. The strikes across Gaza, which witnesses say carried on into early Wednesday, are the latest test of an almost 3-week-old ceasefire deal brokered by US President Donald Trump. Local health authorities said overnight that the attacks killed at least 26 people across the Palestinian territory. The strikes followed accusations from Israel's military that Hamas had violated the ceasefire by attacking Israeli forces in the area. It also came after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered powerful attacks on the militants. Earlier, he accused Hamas of violating the ceasefire by turning over remains that did not belong to missing Israeli hostages. He said that remains handed over the previous day belonged to Ofir Zafati, an Israeli killed during Hamas's October 7th attack, whose body was partially recovered by Israeli forces during the war. In response, Hamas initially said it would hand over the body of a missing hostage found in a tunnel in Gaza. However, Hamas' armed wing, the Al-Qassam Brigades, later said it would postpone the handover, citing what it said were Israel's violations of the ceasefire. In a hospital in Gaza City, Palestinian Taya Al-Bana was among those injured in Tuesday's strikes.
We were reading the news about Netanyahu's threats and the attacks on Gaza, and then the attack happened right at our house. The roof fell on us. Our neighbours came and pulled us from under the rubble. Me, my wife, my daughters, my sons, and my wife's father.
The search for hostage bodies stepped up over the past few days as heavy machinery arrived from Egypt. The issue has become one of the main sticking points in the ceasefire. Diggers were working in Khan Yunis on Tuesday with Hamas fighters around them. The US-backed ceasefire agreement earlier this month halted 2 years of war triggered by the deadly Hamas-led attacks on Israel on October 7, 2023. But since then, both sides have accused each other of violations.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Much for staying with us here on Nation at 5. Israeli airstrikes have hit Gaza after Benjamin Netanyahu and his government accused Hamas of violating the US brokered ceasefire, marking the latest test of this fragile truce. Over 30 people have been killed, according to Gaza health officials. That number is likely to increase. These strikes follow Prime Minister Netanyahu's orders for powerful attacks after Israel claimed that Hamas returned remains that didn't belong to the missing hostages. Vladimir Putin has also announced successful tests of the Poseidon nuclear-powered underwater drone. We're given to understand that this has only now escalated matters, with the world being on edge of what comes next in this war in West Asia.
Palestinian Red Crescent workers were seen trying to rescue people trapped under rubble after an Israeli strike in Gaza City, in video obtained by Reuters on Tuesday. The strikes across Gaza, which witnesses say carried on into early Wednesday, are the latest test of an almost 3-week-old ceasefire deal brokered by US President Donald Trump. Local health authorities said overnight that the attacks killed at least 26 people across the Palestinian territory. The strikes followed accusations from Israel's military that Hamas had violated the ceasefire by attacking Israeli forces in the area. It also came after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered powerful attacks on the militants. Earlier, he accused Hamas of violating the ceasefire by turning over remains that did not belong to missing Israeli hostages. He said that remains handed over the previous day belonged to Ophir Zafati, an Israeli killed during Hamas's October 7th attack, whose body was partially recovered by Israeli forces during the war. In response, Hamas initially said it would hand over the body of a missing hostage found in a tunnel in Gaza. However, Hamas' armed wing, the Al-Qassam Brigades, later said it would postpone the handover, citing what it said.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Much for staying with us here on Nation at 5. Israeli airstrikes have hit Gaza after Benjamin Netanyahu and his government accused Hamas of violating the US brokered ceasefire, marking the latest test of this fragile truce. Over 30 people have been killed, according to Gaza health officials. That number is likely to increase. These strikes follow Prime Minister Netanyahu's orders for powerful attacks after Israel claimed that Hamas returned remains that didn't belong to the missing hostages. Vladimir Putin has also announced successful tests of the Poseidon nuclear-powered underwater drone. We're given to understand that this has only now escalated matters, with the world being on edge of what comes next in this war in West Asia.
Palestinian Red Crescent workers were seen trying to rescue people trapped under rubble after an Israeli strike in Gaza City, in video obtained by Reuters on Tuesday. The strikes across Gaza, which witnesses say carried on into early Wednesday, are the latest test of an almost 3-week-old ceasefire deal brokered by US President Donald Trump. Local health authorities said overnight that the attacks killed at least 26 people across the Palestinian territory. The strikes followed accusations from Israel's military that Hamas had violated the ceasefire by attacking Israeli forces in the area. It also came after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered powerful attacks on the militants. Earlier, he accused Hamas of violating the ceasefire by turning over remains that did not belong to missing Israeli hostages. He said that remains handed over the previous day belonged to Ophir Zafati, an Israeli killed during Hamas's October 7th attack, whose body was partially recovered by Israeli forces during the war. In response, Hamas initially said it would hand over the body of a missing hostage found in a tunnel in Gaza. However, Hamas' armed wing, the Al-Qassam Brigades, later said it would postpone the handover, citing what it said were Israel's violations of the ceasefire. In a hospital in Gaza City, Palestinian Taya Al-Bana was among those injured in Tuesday's strikes.
We were reading the news about Netanyahu's threats and the attacks on Gaza, and then the attack happened right at our house. The roof fell on us. Our neighbours came and pulled us from under the rubble. Me, my wife, my daughters, my sons, and my wife's father.
The search for hostage bodies stepped up over the past few days as heavy machinery arrived from Egypt. The issue has become one.
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. Donald Trump is in South Korea. They gave him a golden crown, their highest award, and a brownie called Peacemaker's Dessert. The Koreans have turned flattery into a fine art and they walked away with a trade deal. I'm sure the world is taking notes. Meanwhile, Trump is being himself and digressing dramatically. At a CEO's conference, he talked about India and Pakistan. He mimicked Prime Minister Modi. What does he want from India? We'll discuss that tonight. Also, he's meeting Chinese President Xi Jinping tomorrow. We'll set it up for you. In the world of business, a major move. Nvidia has bought a $1 billion stake in Nokia. Yes, the phone company, it's still around. Also in focus, why Indian market regulator SEBI says mutual funds are expensive and how it plans to change that. Why the EU top brass may be chief guests for India's next Republic Day. Why Pakistan is threatening to obliterate their former proteges, the Taliban. Why France is adopting a consent-based rape law. And what's the new supersonic jet that flies quietly? We're also tracking the mass killings in Darfur. The horror can be seen